Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 8:36. Good Tuesday morning to one and all. You're listening to O'Connor and Company. I'm Julie Gunlock, joined by my friend Hans von Spakovsky. Good morning, Hans.
We're in the last half hour, and we've got a very important guest coming up.
We do, and if you've missed what we've been here for 4 hours, check out our podcast. But joining us now is Congressman Jim Jordan, Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee.
Hey,
good morning, Chairman.
Morning, guys. Good to be with you.
So it is happy 100 days of the Trump administration.
Yeah.
What is your review? Give us your thoughts on the 100 days of the Trump administration.
We went from no border to a secure border. We went from military recruitment down to military recruitment up. We're finding all kinds of ridiculous spending in the federal budget through the DOGE efforts. We're focused on school choice, cutting taxes. I mean, and frankly, we've never seen a pace like this with President Trump and his administration. So I think it's all positive. And then, frankly, from judiciary standpoint, the censorship is done. The censorship regime that the Biden administration had. I don't know if you may remember, we got a letter from Mark Zuckerberg last summer before the election where he said the Biden administration pressured us to censor. We did it. We're sorry. We're not going to do it again. That whole, disinformation governance board, bureaucrats telling you what you can say, what you can tweet, what you can post. All that baloney is gone. So I think all good from President Trump and his team.
Yeah, although there is one big problem, which I think you recently held a hearing on, which is we have all these rogue lone federal district court judges who are issuing what I think are unlawful nationwide injunctions. And you recently held a hearing about that. Yeah,
we're doing all we can. We got sort of three ways to fight this stuff. One is oversight, which we had the hearing. We had Speaker Gingrich come in and talk about historically how this is just not how it's supposed to work in our great system, our constitutional system. Second, we can look at the appropriations process, but we've also passed legislation that's now passed the full House. We passed it out of our committee 6 weeks ago, passed it out of the House 3 weeks ago, and the legislation says that if a federal district judge issues an injunction, it doesn't apply nationwide. It simply applies to the parties in the case in that respective jurisdiction, which even Justice Kagan has said in the past that's something that needs to happen because he's decided that a single federal district judge thinks that they're the president can issue these directives. Just doesn't make sense. So we're trying to deal with it in every way we can. But it's nice that we passed legislation. We'll see what Chuck Schumer and what happens in the United States Senate.
Yeah, it's interesting too that look, a lot of folks have been talking about we're up to I think over 140 executive orders by the president, but there's great fear, as you know, Mr. Chairman, that a future administration could reverse this, and so as much as possible, there needs to be hopefully codification of some of the things that the president has done. Kind of what's the path for that if there is one?
Well, the biggest thing we're trying to get done is the reconciliation package, which I always tell people reconciliation is a fancy name for avoiding the 60-vote hurdle in the Senate when you're dealing with revenue and spending in the federal government. So that, of course, is something we're working on every single day. We're going to have our markup of our portion, what the Judiciary Committee deals with in that area. We're going to have that markup tomorrow where we go through that legislation. So that is big. You can do rescissions, which also avoid the 60-vote threshold in the Senate. This is where the administration says, here's things Elon Musk and the DOGE team have identified. We think we should rescind this spending. We don't think you should be spending American tax dollars for Sesame Street in Iraq. We can probably do without Big Bird and Bert and Ernie on Baghdad television. So those kind of things are we're working on. But then to actually get other things in law, you're going to have to get to 60 votes in the Senate, like this bill we just talked about on these federal judges and injunctions they issue. That will require 60 votes. So hopefully you'll get some Democrat senators who will think that this is the right thing to do and go follow Justice Kagan's lead and vote with us and pass that bill as well.
I wonder if you can comment on this case against Judge Hannah Dugan. Really shocking what she did sort of allowing someone in her court who was there for assaulting his roommates and I believe a girlfriend, and then sort of shepherded them out a side door, and she was arrested. Of course, the left is going bananas, saying that this is unprecedented. But her case looks pretty bad if, in fact, she did what she did. Do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, if you're obstructing justice, if you're interfering, it's like, okay, so she happened to be a judge, but any other person that does that's going to be in trouble. The judge should. That's the standard. That's the law. So I think the country sees all this through just. Again, maybe the biggest divide in the country today is the left is crazy and we're for common sense. And this is common sense versus crazy policy. You can go down the line. It's crazy to defund the police. It's crazy to let men compete against women in sports. It is crazy not to have a border. It is crazy for the left to celebrate the Luigi man, the guy who killed the CEO.
Luigi Mangione.
All kinds of crazy things the left does. And it's crazy for a judge to say, turn the plane around, bring back the terrorists, who bring him back to the country, and it's crazy for the left to defend a judge saying, let the bad guy out the back door while the good guys are coming in the front door to arrest him. That makes no sense. So this is common sense versus the craziness of the left, and the country says, you know what, we're kind of for common sense. We're kind of for the rule of law, and the left can argue all they want, but I think the country sees it for what it is.
Well, Chairman Jim Jordan here with the campaign line for the next election, crazy versus common sense. I love it. I love it. That really does sum it up.
I actually, if you remember Sarah Huckabee Sanders, when she did the response a few years ago to the State of the Union, she had the lines when she said it slightly different. She said the divide in America today is normal versus crazy, and that's the truth. And it's the truth. And we're kind of for normal and common sense. And if we do that, I think we're going to be fine. And that's certainly what President Trump has been pushing for in these first 100 days.
Chairman, thanks for coming on. We always love talking to you.
You bet.